Welcome in to another Running with the Timberwolves podcast on the Believe Sports Network. My name is Gabe Anderson, and I'm joined as always by Chris Emerson. Chris, how we doing?
We're doing well, man. Timberwolves season is starting back up, so I'm happy.
Absolutely. And as you know, Summer League is well underway. In fact, I think they're playing right now against the Pelicans. Saw the first half, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But first, we got to talk about Anthony Edwards on Team USA, a great performance against Team Canada. And you probably saw the marquee or the thumbnail of this episode. He said that he is going to be, in his mind, the number one option for Team USA. Ben, I'll let you give some of your thoughts first, and then I'll come in. What did you think of Ant's performance against Team Canada, which is one of the highest ranked or have the best odds to overthrow Team USA? I mean, they did beat them in the FIBA championships earlier this year in the third place game. What do you think of Ant's performance?
You know, it's impressive when a guy of his age steps in on that court with those players and, like he said, acts like he's the number one option. I mean, that sort of bravado is exactly what you want out of your future superstar or out of your current superstar. So I'm here for it, man. Like, I don't know if it's going to hold up once the real Olympic Games start, but we'll see. But that sort of spirit, that sort of takeover attitude from somebody that young playing with, Hall of Famers all around him, it's impressive. I mean, it takes big balls to do that, and this guy's he's doing it.
Yeah, and like I was mentioning, Team Canada, according to FIBA.com, FIBA.basketball.com, they have the number 5 or their power rank number 5 for the FIBA rankings. The
That's
rest
crazy.
of them.
What are the rankings? I would be surprised that they're not 2. I guess maybe France, but
Number 4 is Serbia with Nikola Jokic. Number 3 is France with obviously Rudy Gobert and Victor Wembanyama. And then number 2 is Germany, who won the FIBA championships. I think that they're giving a big nod to Germany just because they won FIBA last year. They do got some. I mean, they got the Wagner brothers, who I said it when we were watching FIBA. I said that Team USA with only one big guy is going to have trouble defending big men, and that's exactly. I mean, I think Daniel Tice lit him up for like 20 points in the FIBA semifinals game. So not a problem now with Joel Embiid, Anthony Davis. I think that Bam out of bio as well. I don't think they should have any trouble taking home this gold medal.
Yeah, I mean, it should be. There's no reason why it should be any trouble unless the players, play selfishly or whatever. But they've got a pretty good mix of players that don't really have much of that selfish type game. Probably the most selfish game would probably be Edwards himself. And that's not a knock on him. Like, that's what he's there to do, is to score. So, yeah, I'm excited for it, but it shouldn't be much competition, and we should have an easy run to the title in reality.
Absolutely. Now, obviously, he's the first USA Olympic player from the Timberwolves since Kevin Garnett in 2000, the Sydney Olympics, where they took home gold in that one. I looked up the stats for Kevin Garnett in that. He had a pretty good going, 10.8 points per game, 9.1 rebounds, and 2 assists per game. Now, what I want to talk about is Ant saying that he is going to be the number one option on Team USA. I don't know if that's true, but I do think, really judging on what we saw in the game against Canada, I do think he could be a number one option on the second unit, because I think the second unit is where the Team USA is going to just dominate teams. Right. Because if you look at it, it's Halliburton, Ant, Tatum, Bam, and Davis, some combination of that. And that's where the USA has the advantage, because not to say that other teams are as good as the starters like LeBron, but I think they have comparable talent to the starters on other teams, like Germany or Team Canada, they have comparable to the starters, but I think when you get to the second unit and you have Ant where they can't double team him or zero in on him, because you also have Jason Tatum, the defending NBA champion. You have Derek White as well. You have Bam Adebayo, Anthony Davis. I think the second unit is where they're going to win a lot of their games.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, when you've got superstars and Hall of Famers that are coming off the bench for you, and the other teams, have low level all stars, like that's who starts for them as all stars. We've got Hall of Fame guys off the bench. That's crazy. I mean, it's going to be crazy. I mean, what Anthony Edwards might be meaning is when the ball swings to him, he's the first option. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I hope they don't really have a first option on the team. I hope it's a ball movement type thing. And whoever's, got a good mismatch or whatever is the one that's playing. I don't think they're going to have like a, let's go through this guy type thing, but when the ball swings to Edwards, he's taking it to the cup, or he's being aggressive. And that's a mindset he needs to have.
Yeah. And what I loved just from watching the broadcast is there's so many great players. There's Halliburton, there's LeBron, there's all these players. But what are the announcers talking about? They're talking about how much they love Anthony Edwards and how excited they are in Anthony Edwards. And it's just so fun to watch, because a lot of times Timberwolves players like on all-star teams are like an afterthought. Like, for example, you're watching the all-star game 10 years ago or so, you're watching Kevin Love. They're probably not talking about Kevin Love too much, but Anthony Edwards is just an unreal player. 6 for 10 from the field, finished with a team high 13 points. He said he was nervous to play in the first scrimmage, but he definitely didn't look like it. And man, he really found his spots on the court as well. Found his spots, hit the bank shot, hit some jumpers. He wasn't forcing it either.
And that's what this sort of time is going to help him. Watching guys like, I mean, he knows what to do, but like just really cracking in his head. Like if you've got 3 or 4 spots on the court where you shoot 60% or whatever, like that's your spot. Why shoot other areas? Like just keep going to those. And that sort of efficiency is something that KD has always, been huge on, something that, LeBron, not so much because he's got the ball in his hands, but the guys that are just the pure scorers, even Booker, like they know how to get to where they're effective, where they can get their buckets, and they just keep repetitively doing that. These are steps he's going to have to learn, and these are things he is learning, and no better group of guys to learn from than who he's got. A crazy thing I heard, when the first time LeBron put on a Team USA jersey, Anthony Edwards was 2 years old.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
That is insane.
And it's not like this is dream team LeBron, kind of like how like Larry Bird and Magic Johnson and those guys were kind of like on the tail end of their abilities and just sort of getting drug along. Even, like Mullen was like that on that team. I mean, this is LeBron who's, top 5 MVP candidate every year still type thing. Like to be that old and playing at that level is insane.
Absolutely. LeBron, obviously, I guess Anthony Edwards is the echelon now, but for years was my favorite player. Just every time LeBron would come to town, I would try to get tickets, and it was always fun to watch him. But yeah, I mean, this team is absolutely stacked and should have no problem making a run. And like I was saying, the second unit is going to be crucial, because like we were saying, Germany doesn't have the second unit that can hang with us. Spain doesn't have the second unit. Once you get past Wemby and Rudy Gobert, which that's going to be fun. I can't wait for the moment where Anthony Edwards gets an open lane and tries to yam one on Rudy Gobert.
I love it.
That's going to be an amazing moment.
And he has to. He's going to have to try to do that. Like, There's no doubt about it. Even if it's, he takes off from too far away and he really doesn't have it. Like, just go for it, man. I'm here for that. Yeah, I mean, France has a couple other guys. I mean, I guess I haven't went through their roster, but I'm sure they've got Fournier. I'm sure they've got some other cats on there that got ability. So I mean, and I know that I don't know if they got the second pick in the draft. That's 7'1" dude. Like they could end up having a lineup out there with like 3 7-footers that are all very skilled. I saw Wemby running point and step back and hit a three. I mean, they've got they're going to have a hard team to defend just because of how weird they are.
Yeah. And like we always say, international play is completely different than normal. On a normal day, the USA would trounce all these teams all the time, but international play, it's called different. Yep. It's different dimensions of the courts, different rules. Like I was watching it. There's different goaltending rules. Like if the ball hits off the backboard, you can still hit it. It's just different. It's different rules. But some of the players from Team France, I'm just looking at, obviously, Victor Wembanyama, Rudy Gobert, a couple other ones. Killian Hayes on that team. Solid. Nicholas Batum.
Batum, yep, solid.
Theo Maledon, I think of the Thunder.
He played. Mm-hmm.
So nothing.
Do they have that Scar or Alec? Or do they have that Sar or whatever, the number 2 pick?
I don't see him. I don't see him.
Isn't Reicher the number 1 pick? Isn't he French? Oh no, he's played in summer league. So yeah, he must not have made the squad. I think that weren't the first 2 picks in the draft French this year?
Yeah, both of them were French. Yeah. I don't see them.
It's crazy that the number 1 and number 2 pick in the NBA draft aren't on that roster. But and same thing with that international play. They really value like age and like older guys in any international play. So maybe they just don't have those guys playing.
Also, I would think a guy and the guy I didn't mention, Nicholas Batum, I could see him turning on an extra level. Like maybe he phoned it in a little bit with playing for, who was it, the Sixers last year, or was he was with the Clippers, right?
I don't know. He's moved around a little bit. Yeah,
he's moved around, but they put it on an extra level for playing international play. So
for sure.
Yeah.
I saw a quote say that the most dangerous people in the Olympics are C+ NBA basketball players playing for their home country. And they talked about like Dennis Schroeder and Carlos Arroyo and all those type of guys that are like okay NBA players, but once they put on their team's jersey and they're like the guy that the ball goes to, they can really do some damage. So, like you said, it's a different game.
It is a different game. And one thing that I noticed about Team USA, obviously Team Canada went on that 11-1 run to start the game, is they almost settled way too much. I think they put up like 10 threes in the first 3 minutes. They just started hoisting and started kind of relying just on straight talent and shot making, and that wasn't working against Team Canada. And then eventually, particularly when the second unit came out with Ant and Tatum and Halliburton, they started going to the basket. They started using their skill. They started playing real basketball. Like they started moving the ball a little bit, getting open dunks. They dominated on the offensive and defensive glass. I mean, size is going to be something that's why it's so interesting with the game with Team France, where we will actually be undersized in that game with Wembanyama and Rudy Gobert. So it'll be interesting going forward. But like I said, I would be shocked if we don't bring home the gold medal.
For sure. I mean, it's what we're going to have to get away from is trying to play all-star basketball games. And if we can get away from that and just play real basketball, no one will stop us. But if we play all-star games crap, we could lose easily.
Which is a lot of, what was it, the 2004 team? That's what happened to them. Yeah, for the 2004 team where that won bronze. The most uninspiring bronze medal of all time. Most countries would be ecstatic if they won a bronze medal in basketball. We find it as the ultimate failure. That's crazy to me. Manu Ginobili, that's who got us.
He's a beast. Again,
he is.
I mean, he was old at that time, but or no, that was 2000. He wasn't that old. No, another guy that when he puts on his team colors, man, he's a different beast.
Absolutely. And that is actually what's great about Olympic basketball is it's one thing to let's be honest, obviously these players love playing in the NBA, but it's something to play for a country, for an entire country. Like when Anthony Edwards steps into a Wolves uniform, he's playing for a city that he didn't grow up in. He's from Atlanta. But when he puts on a USA uniform, he's playing for the entire country, and that's something huge.
Yeah, the guys talk about that a lot. I'm wondering how much of that is just lip service, to be honest. Like with our country being so big
Yeah.
and like so kind of separate with like the states and stuff, I wonder if that's really a thing where they're like, man, I'm super honored to play for Team USA, or if it's just like kind of another all-star selection and it's more fun for the travel and like going to see like the other athletes play. I wonder, I would love to know if it's really this great honor they talk about. um I don't know. I'll
Here's a
never know.
question. How much do you think it helps for Hall of Fame status?
None.
None?
Well, I mean, it does, I guess, because that's on their thing. Like, there's guys like Ricky Rubio is going to be a Hall of Famer, and it has nothing to do with his NBA career, because it's a basketball Hall of Fame. It's not an NBA Hall of Fame. So he's
Right.
got, multiple European medals, record, stuff like that. There's plenty of guys that have got to the Hall of Fame that never played a minute in the NBA. So, for guys that are like lesser than, I think it matters. But like let's say Bam Adebayo, like I don't know if an Olympic gold is gonna really push him one way or another on his especially if he's coming off the bench for his Hall of Fame status. I think his is probably going to be based solely off NBA career.
Right, that's true. All right, let's shift gears just a little bit. We'll touch on it briefly. NBA Summer League is in full force. Actually, the Wolves, as we record this, are playing the Pelicans right now. So we're not going to necessarily comment on the game whatsoever.
Yeah, so I haven't started watching it yet, so I don't want no spoilers.
Okay. So what are you looking for in Summer League? Obviously, the
Dillingham.
the Dillingham and Terrence Shannon. Are you looking for anything else?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking for the team to play smart. Like the great thing about Summer League is when you have a decent point guard that can help, play in play where it's not, again, all-star like basketball. Shannon's going to need to look like you can score points in Summer League and they're not like NBA points. They're like, you're bigger, you're stronger, you're faster than some, Division II player that you're going up against that's never going to be on an NBA team.
Right.
But if you're getting your points within the system, hitting shots, like I want to see guys shoot at a nice percentage. I want to see guys like actually try to defend a little bit, move the ball so it's not selfish play. But a couple splash plays there where you can see where the guy has that upper echelon ability. I'm going to want to see that. I want to see Minot, see if he can take a step forward. Like I was excited about him as a youth. We drafted him super young as this raw athlete. I want to see if he can end up being maybe a rotational piece in the near future. Miller, same with him. Like, we took him, he was pretty young. I want to see if he can be a guy that can step up and play. Maybe see if he can bang down low, see if he can actually play defense. He was supposedly one of the worst G League defenders last year. So just those kind of steps from guys that we were hoping to be rotational players. And then, I want Dillingham to be electric. Like I want him to be like that picture right behind you with Kevin Garnett and Stephon Marbury. I want to see Stephon Marbury like speed. I want to see a guy that nobody can stay in front. Like I want to see him blow by everybody, I want to see that sort of explosion where it's like you're not like any Summer League defender just has no chance versus him, because then he might have then it means he's probably got a shot in the NBA to be, equally as explosive.
Right. I'm not going to give you any spoilers, but the one thing I will say watching this game, Dayshawn Nix is a sneaky good defender.
He's big boy too. Oh, that's who I'm really interested in too is Clark, the guy that we drafted out of UCLA. He had the blown Achilles, but from all accounts coming into the draft, he was a knockdown or a lockdown defender, like the best defender by far, like perimeter defender in college basketball at the time. And I actually watched some clips of, I want to say it was Terrence Shannon when I was trying to look a little bit about him, and he was playing UCLA, and Clark was all over him, and I want to see if this guy's going to be an NBA talent, because we're low, we're a little thin at that point guard and even the guard position. So we could use some of these guys to be a rotational piece if somebody goes down, or if they can step up and be important for us.
Like we've said on past podcasts, we need to start using some of our picks to amplify the talent that we have around us.
Yeah.
Like we were saying, if you're going to have 3 guys on max contracts, which we'll see, we don't know what's going to happen with Karl Anthony Towns. He actually, one other thing, he is in Vegas right now. He is in the Timberwolves camp right now, but we do need some of those players to pop up and be worth a pick, essentially, and be a rotational player.
First off, I didn't know Cat was there, and that I love that, because I think it's time for the team to be there all the time for each other. Like, I don't need you in Barbados acting like you're a max player while these other guys are sweating, trying to make a roster. Like, we need to be a full team. I get it. It's summer. I get it's vacation, but it's kind of part of the game of being a pro basketball player now, is it's a 365-day job. It's not like it was in the 80s and 90s where, you come in out of shape and you get in shape in training camp. Like, these guys need to be in the system, playing with these guys and seeing how it works. But yeah, we're going to move on from guys like Monte Morris. We're going to move on from guys like, we got Joe Ingles this year. We're going to move on from, Slow-Mo. Those types of guys we're not going to be able to afford if we keep our roster as is. And we're going to need these second-round picks. We're going to need these late first-round picks that are making pennies on the dollar compared to those guys to contribute at a high level until they're ready to get a contract like, Nickeil Alexander-Walker will be. And then we'll have to make a decision to either let them walk or pay them. But we need these guys to step up.
Absolutely. And I think we'll put an exclamation point there. Chris, thanks so much for being here.
Hey man, it's great, and I'm excited to watch the summer league today. So I'm really pumped.
Absolutely. And this is the Running with the Timberwolves podcast on the Believe Sports Network. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe on YouTube, and give us a 5-star rating on Spotify and or Apple. And check out our past videos. We've been doing a bunch. We covered Joe Ingles. We covered Terrence Shannon. We covered Rob Dillingham more thoroughly, so make sure to check that out. Check us out on Twitter at Running with the Timberwolves. And as always, go Wolves.